Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, aka the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week, we got the whole table is filled with the MMG crew. I was going to say the whole MMG crew, but it's definitely not the whole.
Not even close.
Not quite.
Dre said he wasn't going to talk the whole thing, so we have a bet riding on it.
I call
Dre,
bullshit.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
Dre, I believe in you, buddy.
Yep. Make sure timer's on. We got an hour. See if we can get Dre talk. But today, we really had no earthly idea what we were even going to be going over. And about 4 minutes ago, we decided we were going to talk about the recent evolution at Moss Marketing Group. There's been a lot of moving things going on. I think we get a lot of questions about it all the time. And April was a very hectic month with a lot of different things, but I think there's a lot of stuff that led up to April before that.
Like March.
Yeah, March is before April. And nothing, Dre? No input?
What's before March?
Yeah. Do you know what's before March? Wow.
What year is it?
Yeah. Education level over here. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Crickets. All right. So, Ricky, what would you say one of the biggest movement things in 2024 has been? Just like kind of from the beginning of the year.
From the beginning of the year. That feels like a while ago.
It does seem like a really long time ago.
Year's halfway over.
I was already ready to jump into the big move because that made the most sense. And now I'm trying to think of what even happened at the beginning of the year. A lot of more people starting, new businesses coming on, a lot more processes.
Which I think that's one of the things that I would take away that's been huge this year is the development of processes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where, Dre agreed with that one. I think that's where we were missing the boat a lot. And I think that's just really understanding how quick the complexity level multiplies with people. And I think we were flirting at that like 15 number for a while. Then we get up to 15 and we lose some people. And we didn't really have processes. And we also just had everyone kind of doing everything. So I feel like we're getting much better at honing people in on their direction. But I think that's only possible with manpower. I think a lot of times I see it with these small companies that talk about all these different things that they're going to implement and how they need this like structure of people and they want all these like different positions. When you have 5 people, you can't do that.
Yeah. Every hand on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's trying to get the work done.
Right.
And I think sometimes that gets lost when people are just they get too set in a process area when processes come at a certain point. And I think that's the point of business that we're at right now is understanding the processes and efficiencies of people. So, Dalton, what would you think in 2024, what would you say probably the biggest movement thing besides moving office spaces?
I think our content team grew a lot. I mean, we went from, I don't know how many, 3 maybe, 3 people in 2024 to 6 to 7.
Yeah.
And that was in a short period of time, I think, in the first couple months. So I would definitely say the content team exploded beginning of 2024. And it's growing even more now. So
yeah, it definitely is.
And I think that's been a very difficult department to grow. And I think just understanding we have 2 different sides of the brain in our office. That you have the analytical marketing side that is working on ads, it's going over reporting, that's looking at that side, but then we also have the creative that can work on content, that can come up with those ideas and do so much on that forefront that it's very unique having all that in one roof.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out how to manage both sides. It's two completely different management techniques.
It definitely is.
Per se from one to the other. And I'll say the first rollout of the content side, I did not manage it correctly. That we built the content team up. I kind of burned it all down myself.
I think that was the first time we had like true content creators though. Like mid 2023, beginning of 2024. Like,
what are you calling Reiki?
No, so dude, like not doing other, like they were doing content.
Yeah, but I don't know. I told Ricky one time, I'm like, it's crazy that you can do like, you know, good in sales, like good at talking to people, you know, good at processes, but he's also good at content. Like, I feel like that's very rare.
It's kind of
in a person.
It makes it kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Because then you don't know what you should be leaning into.
Sure.
I would agree with Ricky a lot on that.
Yeah.
That it gets really hard when you know how to do multiple different things that like you don't know where your time's most like best allocated.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think that was one big thing that helped me a lot was finding mentorship from people that I knew wanted the best for me to point me in the right direction. I'm not somebody that's real good with being like told what to do.
It's got to be your idea, right? Like they got to plant the seed and kind of.
If you give me the general like, Dre's got a lot of words to say on this one, but he's gonna stay quiet. There's, I don't know. It's just directly being told like, hey, do that. I just don't receive it well.
Yeah, just like sales, like if they come to the conclusion on their own, then they're way more likely to follow through with it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's. And I think it's also just putting all the dots together to make sense of it, where I have some people in my corner that do a really good job at outlining that and saying this is why you need to be doing this and not allocating your time over here. So there was a point that I was working on these house videos and stuff, and Ricky's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting these done. I'm not going to throw them on the content team. That was stupid. He's like, text me at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'm editing videos right now, bud. And it's just, it is difficult that you have to allocate that time. You have to be disciplined enough too. When you're in a position where it's get on a camera is fun. Doing that stuff is fun, but it's also when you have professionals there doing it all day, every day, most of the time it throws a wrench in the process when you inject yourself into it. Yeah. That anytime I get on a camera, I go out and film, then whoever's editing, they're like, where's that in the NAS? I'm like, that's good question. I don't know.
Might not be in the NAS.
It's in the card that's in the camera. It's in the bag.
Here's my camera bag. Go for it. Have at it. But they have their process of how it's done, and that's what makes it work like a well-oiled machine. So it's
well, and even more than the like that process aspect of it is like somebody else does have the skill set to do that. There's some other thing that you could be doing that they don't have the skill set for.
Yeah,
and that's tricky too. It's like, well, if it's a breeze for you to do something, then you can probably teach somebody else to do it.
You think so?
You would think so.
I think there's a lot of times there's certain things in business that you learn how to do, and for a really long time I had a fear of like MMG being knocked off. Like that was in the beginning I wanted to gatekeep everything. I was like, I don't want one person to know how to do all of it. Like I was like, what stops them from just going and doing something else? But I've started to learn that there are certain characteristics that I hold that I know that like are my value points. And it's like, I know the characteristics that other people hold and their value points, that you have the entrepreneur, but you also have the entrepreneur inside the companies, that it's let them be free to do what they need to do and be that person and flex those skills that they have. And it's like every single person in MMG has very unique characteristics that make them them. And I think sometimes those in most companies are swept under the rug and they don't let those people actually truly. You can ask Ricky anytime we're interviewing somebody, I really ask people what they want to do. If they don't want to do it, then why do I have that power to push somebody into doing that? And it took me a good amount of time to understand that. I don't want it to sound like I knew how to do that since we started, because I didn't.
We're also in kind of a more unique situation where a lot of people end up they have like this is the role that they need filled, and they're interviewing for like that specific role because we're in such a fast growth period. Like if you're great on this side, you can go there. If you're great on this side, you can go there. Like the options are pretty open.
Yeah. And it is unique because we're willing to take people in all departments, and it's also very hard for me to hire when I've just always bet on people. Like it doesn't bother me what they do. It's just like, do they bring value to the table? Like I look at it as if Alex Ramosi came and sat down right here and he's like, hey, I want a job at Moss Marketing Group. Are we going to be like, is he on a camera or is he on the marketing side?
I think we put him on a camera.
But it's like most companies like rabbit hole someone right into doing a set thing. That he has a whole different mindset when it comes to a process, a sales process, acquisition, a work side. Like he has a whole different value point than us trying to hire just for these two spots. To where you have to look at that at people as like, what value does a person have? And then does that value align somewhere within the business? And most every time when I see somebody that has true value at them, it all hones back into work ethic. That's the one thing we've figured out pretty quick that.
Yeah. It shows fairly fast.
Yeah. And every marketing resume we've gotten has been absolute dog shit. Like, I'm not saying what's on the resume, but I'm talking characteristics of those people.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping somebody listening to this is in the marketing space that can come prove us wrong at some point.
That'd be great. If someone knew about marketing and could come in.
Well, I'm just saying somebody that has a marketing
and
background, that every single person that comes from a marketing background right now that's been in a marketing company, they're lazy. They are so lazy. I talk to companies every single day. They're like, well, I worked with this company. They just never got back with me. They're a lazy group of people. Like, how many... I get marketing resumes from people that says, well, I'm overworked and I work too much where I'm currently at, so I'm going to go somewhere else. You guys look like you have fun.
So I think it's more than that. I think it's people are lazy. I don't think it's necessarily like the marketing people are lazy. I think people across the board have gotten lazy, especially
That's true.
Especially everybody that's around our age or younger now.
Which I will say that's something that's very unique is, I mean, Dalton's the oldest person at the company.
And
at 30
not for long, bud.
At 30 years old.
You got about
I mean, everyone in the company's in their 20s and you're in your 30s.
You have 11 days.
So I mean, that's just up to
Less
the
than
mind.
11 days.
That's just up to the mind of whatever somebody wants to look at it as. 30s, 20s. But I think that is something that most people are very confused about.
Mm-hmm.
That we have such a young group.
Yeah.
That is so ambitious, that's going after a set goal, that everyone has their head on straight, that they're moving forward. And I think that comes to personal development. I think personal development is lost and majority in our age group.
I think it's technology and like instant gratification too.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I don't know, Katie and I were talking yesterday. I'm like, it's, you can want to know something, want to learn something. You can just go research it on your phone and it's like, you instantly get it. Whereas before, you may have to go to a library, go to a bookstore, and actually like read the book to learn about it. Whereas now you can just search a direct topic, specific topic, and it's like boom, right there. That's just one example for, there's a lot of different examples for it, but just there's so much less effort that goes into pretty much everything these days that I just think that's carrying over into like people's lives and attitudes and how they view things.
I think that and screen time alone is just so heavy that I look at last night when I went to sleep, I wasn't even tired, but I knew that I was going to get up at 3:30 and it was like 8 o'clock. I was like, I need to go to bed. And Matt's like, hey, you're going to go to sleep. You're like, you're not even tired. I just put my phone on charge. I just laid down. For like 15 minutes, I was just thinking about every which thing I had going on today. Somewhere around there, I was just out. But I was like, it's crazy when you just turn off all the noise. Then today when I got to the gym, there was nobody at the gym. There was a front desk dude, and that was it. No music on in the gym. It was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop in the gym. I'm like, this is weird. So I was like, you know what? So I take my headphones, I put them on the treadmill, and so I was running my miles just in like silence. I was like, it's really easy to get the motivation when you're listening to a YouTube video, you're listening to David Goggins' book, and you're listening to all these other people to give you motivation, to fuel that fire. It's a whole different level of finding that motivation inside yourself, just you versus you.
Yeah.
I like started off and I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work. And then after like the second time I started running, and I started thinking of like all the purposes of why I was doing what I was doing. It was like this like switch like turned over in my head, and I had the best workout I've had in so long. I need to put my headphones in. It's like I had my hood up and I just got after it, but it was just me versus me. And I found a motivation level inside that it wasn't fueled by someone else. And I think in today's world, everyone is looking for that motivation or that drive or something all in a book or a podcast or whatever it may be. And we talk about it all the time of having that why, having that what are you out to do in your life? So I think that just overall from the screen time that we have and there's TVs everywhere. There's phones, there's iPads. You go to a restaurant, you look at every like 3-year-old around has glued to an iPad.
I think that's setting kids up for failure too.
Yeah.
Like I know it's easy for the parents right then, but in the long run, I don't know that it's going to be.
I want to challenge people to get in your car tomorrow when you drive to work. No music, no nothing, just dead silent in your car, you and you.
I do that all the time, actually.
Yeah. I've done it a few times, and
that's pretty normal for me.
Dalton's just been a psychopath for a while. No, but
it's my time to think.
It is, yeah. And I think it's a great time to clear your head, and I think most of the time we think it has to be with music or it has to be with some sort of noise. That you can sit down and how long is an hour sitting by yourself in dead silence? Hour feels like quite a bit of time. How long is an hour scrolling on TikTok? Gone.
That was fast.
It is, but it's like how much productive thinking can you get done in an hour by yourself? To reflect on what you've done over the last year, what you've done over the last month, what you did over the last week. Reflect on where you're trying to go in the next week, the next month, the next year, the next 10 years. What did you get from that hour on TikTok? And it's like, I'm not saying that I have this dialed in by any means because I'm the first one that'll end up getting stuck scrolling for an hour on TikTok. But it's being aware of those things that I continuously get better, that it's like, I don't have my phone in the bedroom. I think that's probably the biggest thing I've ever done that's like helped out more than anything was putting my phone in the bathroom to where it's like you can't get on it at night.
Yeah.
That made me more of a morning person than anything else I've ever done. Because people ask all the time, like, how do you get up that early? I'm like, well, if you go to sleep at a decent time, it's really not that hard. But most of the time, trying to go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night can be difficult. When TV's on, you're scrolling on your phone, your brain's not triggering that you're tired yet. All of a sudden it's midnight, 1 o'clock, and you're like, okay, now my eyes are getting heavy. They're burning from watching TV. Now I'll go to sleep. And I think that's just going to continuously get worse. And I look at it as all that does is give us more opportunity to scale bigger. Like, who are we competing against? And I'm going to say that kind of leads into our next big play of the year. So from your perspective, I know I did office-wise, pulling the trigger and everything. Your perspective, what did office move look like?
Oh.
Dre thought about talking.
All right, buddy, you can win the bet. Just fucking speak up.
No. He'll stay quiet.
It was exciting for sure. So for a while, it was kind of hard to picture like what the next step would be because the River Market office was so cool and was a huge step coming from the basement, obviously. that it was a little bit tough to envision somewhere in between like that office and the fantasy factory situation that we've talked about building. And when that popped up, it was like, I thought it was a no-brainer as soon as we walked up. I was like, this is legit.
I'm still trying to adjust to it. I feel like I feel like I haven't adjusted to the new office yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
We also has like been a crazy 6 weeks that we've been in there so far too.
I mean, it's weird to not just be able to like look right, look left, and be able to like talk to somebody, like ask them a question. You have to get up and walk across the office, or
I will say that was like one of my biggest fears of the new office was communication. That I knew that the new office was going to require a higher communication level.
Yeah.
That no matter what, it was going to require software to be implemented. It was going to require a whole new stage of MMG that we hadn't gotten into yet. And I had some fear with it, but I knew that it was going to work out. But I also think driving in the morning, it also like, it just feels right. Like when I pull in the morning, it's like, I feel like we're checking the right boxes. We're making the right plays.
It's definitely a step in the right direction for sure. I mean, we needed the space too, so
and
we were pretty much out of space.
Yeah.
Now we're going more towards like a Google type setup that when people start, they just get a laptop and a free office space where wherever they want to sit, they can run and operate. And I think that in the grand vision of it all, that's always been my vision of the fantasy factory. Like, I didn't want people buried away in offices. Like, I've never wanted that for myself. So it's like, I mean, that is for some people, but I like the people that are coming our direction that want to work there. It's because they want to be a part of a team. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And I think when you bury people away in offices, you lose that. Like, I don't think your big corporate companies out there, people are like walking in like, oh my God, like I got to be here. Like, I want that cubicle over there. Like, that cubicle looks nice. Like, they just like, oh yeah, up to floor 5, find Stacy and she's going to take you down the hallway and you'll get your cubicle down there. And it's like, I feel like it's almost like a movie. Like, where the people have like the time on their arm. They go up and they just like kind of check it, and then it's like, oh, yep, you just traded off 8 hours of your time to sit in this cubicle for the day. Back of that.
Like, I feel like I've sat quiet long enough.
He's back.
I did a little sci-fi movie thing that got Dre right out of the woodworks.
No, I was gonna say, moving offices, I don't think I really realized all the internal stuff that needed to be switched. So when you go into all of the systems, payroll, W-2, where people are working at as their primary location, employee contracts, literally everything has to be changed overnight.
I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, I don't think any of us even thought about it until I go to do a payroll first day. I'm like, oh, address is wrong on every single one of these. So then it's like, okay, and then going in, changing things through the state, going in, changing all this stuff, or in the future, if people are working at multiple locations, that's something that has to be reported of where their primary work address is, which those are all things that companies that are growing like that don't really take into account how much time goes into literally just changing something so simple. Like even our email tags all had to be changed. Like just something like that. It's like, I didn't think about any of that stuff, let alone putting everything into operation day one, the day we move in.
Yeah. And you did a good job because I didn't know any of that was even done. So that was all handled behind the curtains.
All I do is just sit in my office and do nothing.
No, but it's also, I think the new office gave a new fire to MMG quickly. And there's a lot of people, a lot of business owners that discount the value of office space, the value of a workplace. And I think that's one of the biggest culture building pieces you have.
Yeah.
And I think that it's something people should be proud of. that I look at how many people in MMG had their parents ever come see our River Market location. It wasn't a lot. But our new one, I think almost every person in there is like, can I have my parents come look at the place? Like, we've had 90% of the office ask if they could bring their parents in on a weekend or something to show them the office. Like, I look at that as people being proud of where they work, being proud of being part of something, that it's just making sure that they see movement happening all the time, that they never think that the company is stagnant. And it's like, I think one person can be doing their job really, really well, but if they ever see the company itself, the ship itself stop moving, that's when you lose A players. Mm-hmm. And I think it's business owners get stagnant. I think they get comfortable. I should be the most uncomfortable person in that building all the time. Like, that's what I signed up for, is to be uncomfortable.
So you're saying we're going to turn the thermostat up?
Not that uncomfortable.
I mean, I did for 3 days, and I don't think a single individual complained.
Yeah. So I like to make sure everyone stays nice and cool, stay on their toes.
Stay uncomfortable.
It was pretty chilly today.
Yeah.
It's a little chilly.
You know what? People don't get tired when they're cold. We got energy
You get
drinks and cold.
hypothermia when you're cold.
We got energy drinks and hypothermia free. You don't have to pay for it. No, I think that was something that also think it lit a fire in me too, that I think I have to relight my fire all the time, that you just get in motion of things happening, and you're trying to envision what the next step looks like. I can envision the long-term vision's there. I just don't know what every step in between it looks like. And it's trying to figure out how do you build that to the next move and make it correct and not make the wrong move. And I've been looking at office space for a while because I knew we were ending the end of the runway, and we were running out of space. We're about to be in a pickle at the other location.
Yeah.
It's funny, we go look at the new one. I'm like, we're gonna take that one. We get everything sent over, an offer, and negotiate. We get that one signed, and Dre's like, he goes, we don't sign that until we have this one figured out. So
it sounded like it happened at the perfect time, though. I mean, we kind of dodged a bullet at the other place. If we wouldn't have found this place with them selling the building or whatever.
Yeah. So that, I mean,
we still have 2 locations.
We still have the other spot, so that still hasn't been worked out yet.
Okay. Well, you can cut that out if you want.
No, it's just one of those things that that's not what I focus on. I look at all the plus sides that have came from the new office way outweigh the fact of us paying for that other office.
I was just meaning that because, we were going to need to get out anyway. So we so happened to find this one at the perfect time, and everything worked out good.
Yeah, if this would have got scooped up and now we were looking for a spot because they're selling the building.
And
Dre does say I'm the luckiest man alive.
We could have been not quite as great of an office.
Yeah.
So
we would have made it work.
Everything happens exactly when it's supposed to, and
Would
it
have
all
been
happens
back
for a
in the
reason.
basement.
Little tighter.
I don't know if anyone would be showing their parents the basement. But
I mean,
Hey,
What about the garage? We could have done basement and garage.
yeah, we got AC and heat out here
it's a
now.
little flex space.
Yeah,
we
Could
could have
work
done
from the
without all
couch.
the overhead.
I mean, Logan's working on the golf cart right now.
I'm just saying.
yeah.
Probably hire a driver to drive us all in because there's not going to be anywhere to park.
Yeah, we get a shuttle bus. You guys park out in the field over there, and we shuttle you guys in.
Yeah, you just have to buy a lot and gravel it. And
Just buy a lot, gravel it. I like it.
I think
that.
the HOA would let it fly.
What are they going to say? Price a ticket? We'll just say we
I mean,
never
I
got it.
still
We
think
don't-
we'd be in the positive.
Yeah, and tell them our lot has no mailbox. Who are they going to give it to?
True.
No. I also think that just the energy level at MMG has changed. I think the drive from everyone in it. I don't think that was just the new office. I think that's just overall what they're starting to see. I think the basement crew had it for a long time because we just saw such mass movement so fast. Mm-hmm. I don't think everyone else got to experience that like we did. And I feel like they're finally experiencing the same thing. And they're seeing how fast their life is changing and how fast movement is happening. that I think a lot of people look at our goals that we're putting as like 12-month goals are like most people's like 15-year goals. And we can create that movement because we're in charge of our destiny of where we want to go. And I think they're starting to realize that.
I did hear someone ask you, I want to say it was last week, they're like, where's MMG going to be in 3 years? And you kind of stumbled because I'm like, his 3-year plan happened in, was it less than 18 months?
Oh, yeah.
And now where we're at from that point was another 3 to 5 year goal. So now it's like sitting there, it's like you put it in perspective. It's like you want to shoot it far out there, but you want to keep it obtainable. So I think that was the first time I've heard you stumped on someone asking you a question like that.
I think for the longest time I had the Fantasy Factory thinking like it was far out there. Like the Fantasy Factory, they talk about those goals. You're always a lot closer to them than you realize. And I think the movement to our current office made me realize we're actually really close to that. And I think that was the crazy goal that we told people. Like that was the goal that when we put out there, people are like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, now I feel like they're seeing it happen right in front of them right now. They're already seeing this Fantasy Factory-like space that they're like, holy shit, they're going to do it. And it's for quite a while. I was like by 35, like Fantasy Factory, like 35 is when I want to build Fantasy Factory. It's like here in 11 days, I turned 30. We're going to have Fantasy Factory
just as old as Dalton.
Yeah. We're having Fantasy Factory a lot sooner than 5 years.
But I feel like when you say that a lot of people can't comprehend that because where we're at now with everything, this is a lot of people's end goal.
Oh, 100%. Most people get to the stage we're at right now, and this is where they get comfortable. This is where they take their foot off the gas. This is where, when we look as our starting, like I look at this as a starting line, is because this is where I feel like we've finally got to the point where we can truly scale. Most people get in that, because I was talking about this morning in our meeting, business is something that tries to break so many people. But this company has tried to break me over and over and over and over, and I won't let it break me. But because of that, it's most time because they go through this grind, this fight that they talk about, the 3 to 5 year phase of like when companies become profitable. Most time after going through that fight, most people are like
done.
Yeah, they put in all the fight they had, and now that's when they pull back, and now they have something that's sustainable, and they can just coast. I look at it as like, no, we're just getting going. Now I get to spend 10 times as much, 100 times as much time on actually building the company. 3 years ago, I didn't have the time to put in building a company like I have now. 3 years ago, I was running around with a camera still. I was building ads out. I was reviewing ads at night. I allocated probably less than an hour a week in selling new accounts of actually trying to move the company forward. How often did MMG's content get done? That was like the furthest thing on the back burner. Today, I'm looking at staffing, and I'm figuring out we're not far away from having 5 or 6 podcasts dropping every single week. We're about to create a whole entire different movement that's going to happen, that people are going to see MMG moving forward in every single thing that they can even think of. Like, and so many people probably listening to this, watching it, whatever, think that sounds crazy. But was it crazy what Dave Portnoy's did when he built Barstool? Because if you went back to when he built Barstool, it was him out by himself with a microphone in a suit trying to interview people. He probably at that point couldn't imagine what he built today. But he started figuring out what scale and movement looked like. And I'm going to say you take all other marketing people aside, I think culture-wise, he has taken the cake at the top. Because people have a voice inside of his company. People have their own personalities. He has stars that work for him. inside of Barstool, and people are proud to be a part of Barstool. That people look at Gary Vee's a marketing genius, but how many people can name off 5 to 10 people that work with Gary Vee? Like, the personalities aren't built inside there. Are they great at what they do? 100%. I look at no one has taken what Gary Vee has done and what Dave Portnoy has done and built something that is a hybrid between the two. We're fast tracking right down the middle, being a hybrid between the two of those. And that's why when everyone looks at everything we're doing, they're like, no one is doing what you guys are doing. And it's like, I now know at this point that no one's they can't knock us off because of who we have within our walls. It takes everyone now. That was my problem, was I thought of it as me. How did somebody knock me off? But you have to knock off everyone in there. And the chances of someone doing that, good fucking luck. And we're ready. To where it's like, I look at just the company itself, like I look at how cool this is, that we're going to be able to go back in another 10 years and watch our first podcast from the basement. We have full documentation every single week of where from when we started the podcast. I really wish we would have started a podcast like day we opened up MMG.
Can you imagine how that would have been?
That would have been really bad. We didn't know how to use audio, so.
No, we didn't.
But I sit there and look at all, like, the other day I was going back and looking at old taco reviews. And just seeing how far I've come. From the beginning taco reviews, I'm like, holy shit, I was pretty bad at those. Like, and that's a short time. I look at where my confidences came in 2 years. I used to be absolutely terrified to podcast every week. Like, I hated whatever night we were podcasting. It's like, fuck. I was like, did not want to do it. Now it's like, it's one of my favorite evenings. So I can't wait to podcast. Same thing like when I drive into work, I'm like, I can't wait till I get past that rumbly spot on the highway. Now I can hit my story.
Right on 35.
Yeah.
Anyone driving diesel knows exactly what we're talking about.
But I look at that. Those are all things that have like changed so quickly that, and I've seen it in other people too. That's like, I can't wait for a marketing podcast to start in the office. That's a couple people that start off and it's going to be hard. They're going to be nervous. They're sit there. I don't know what to talk about.
Is it giving me marketing tips and tricks?
Yeah.
We got to continue the marketing talk somewhere, right?
But it's like having a content one. Is it going to drop the first one and be absolutely amazing? Probably not. Could.
It could.
It could. But it's like, we're going to watch people progress so quickly in doing that. We're going to watch people progress. I want it on content. I want it on marketing. I want it on sports. I want it on cooking, whatever it may be. What people have hobbies in, what people have passions in. Go talk to the world about it. Put it out there. Be great at acquiring attention. And that's something that Dave Portnoy's and Gary Vee both understand very, very well. Is acquirement of attention. And the sad thing is 99% of people in the marketing space have no fucking clue how to acquire attention. That if you look at our page, we're not sitting there selling marketing every day. When people reach out, they're like, oh, you guys are like real people. Like, yeah, we're real. Like, most of the time I have whiskey in my hand, but drinking 2 other nights this week, so I decided not to tonight. But it's like, so many people have been like, you guys is like podcasts like Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm like, just with a lot less viewers. Like a lot less.
Exactly the same.
Shorter episodes.
Shorter episodes. But they're like, you guys just like talk and bullshit, like drink, have cigars, whatever it may be. Like that was the idea of the podcast. Well, not in the very beginning. Very beginning, we thought we needed to ask a lot of questions and get tips and tricks.
To help you succeed.
Yeah. But we figured out that's not what people want to hear. And people will be like, well, like the first part of the podcast, pretty boring. But like the end, you guys just kind of freestyled and it was kind of cool. So, okay, well, we just do that the whole time.
Don't we still have our intro that says that?
Yeah.
We still have it on the first podcast.
No, is
or
it
the intro after that.
The intro on like all of them now.
Yes, it's still the same.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been meaning to change that for the last 17 episodes. think it was around 100. We decided we should.
We got to wait till 200.
Someone hears the intro like they didn't talk about marketing at all.
Yeah. So if you've
They're
made
like,
it,
this guy literally just said they don't talk about marketing halfway through the marketing podcast.
so if you've now made it 45 minutes into the podcast, spoiler alert, you're not going to get any marketing tips and tricks.
I wonder how many people we've lost. Like when it says marketing, they're like, not for me. They're just out right. from
We
the
probably
get-go.
get a lot more traction if they're like, okay, they're not going to talk about marketing.
If we cut out all the stuff about what we're not talking about,
Yeah.
we probably should.
No, we'll test it out.
We should probably
See how it
change it and say,
works.
hey, we're not going to talk about marketing.
Hey, yeah.
But okay, I'll hear him out. Dre, when you were silent when we were asking about the biggest movement of 2024.
Dude, I was just thinking about a podcast name for me.
Oh, you
Dr. Dre's Drinks for Days.
Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre drinks for days or
Dr.
Dr. Dre's
Dre's
drink?
Drinks 4 days. Just reviewing drinks.
4 days?
4
Are you gonna
days?
review
F
whiskey?
O
Or
R.
4 days?
4 days. Spitballing. It's a rough draft.
so is
Think
it the,
about it.
Is it the D3 podcast?
It could be.
Everyone has to have an acronym of 3 things that start with the same letter.
So you're gonna review drinks, like whiskey drinks too?
Just,
are you gonna
any. And I give my honest opinion.
What was your honest opinion of that Mick Ultra there?
Out of 5, I'd give it like a 3.5.
Would you drink it again?
I was actually about to grab another.
Do you rate drinks off of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
I could do 1 to 100. In
1 to 100, huh?
case we're all wondering, we may have just heard a gunshot in Dane's neighborhood.
I mean, it's
That-
getting a little sketchy
On
over here.
YouTube, Dane did say hood. And like, that does not look like the hood.
Yeah. So you,
But what was your question though?
I'm thinking
Beside
a
the-
scale of 1 to 5 is a very
1 to 5 is not good. Neither is 1 to 100.
yeah. I was thinking like 1 to 10, like the same way we rate tacos. So we've been doing that for a long time.
We'll have to test pilot a few episodes out.
Figure out.
I
what
think your
scale
first
one
drink
is.
needs to be the Maker's Mark one that you were talking about.
I was thinking
10
about a
minutes ago.
pina colada.
Hmm.
Do like
Dre
3
just
different
drinks-
store bought
just
pina coladas.
Dre's fruity drinks on Friday.
Maybe I just do one every day. Whiskey Wednesday. I'm gonna hate all of them, but I'll
Just
do
gonna
it.
drink every day.
Tequila Tuesday.
Tequila Tuesday.
Margarita Monday.
Yeah.
Just gonna be smoked every day.
Trying to be-
Franzia Friday.
What? Isn't there only like 5 bags of wine?
Well, you
Yeah.
can have 5 Fridays.
Yeah. Then you could.
You could start like mixing your own Franzia. You could mix them together.
Yeah. I don't
Those
think
are
I do.
definitely gunshots out there. Those ones seem kind of far away.
Is it?
I don't.
It's not sounding good.
That one kind of sounded like a nail gun.
Or we could shut the
Maybe not
garage
try it.
door.
I don't think it's close enough for us to worry, but
Yeah. If the
Until you
cars-
get hit with a stray bullet.
if the cars start getting hit, we'll be worried.
yeah. I don't
Until
think,
then, I think
I don't
we're
think the garage door's stopping it anyways.
Well, at least then we're not a target.
Yeah. All right, we got off topic there on Dre's.
You asked something
drinking.
about 2024.
Biggest move.
Yeah,
other
biggest
than,
move.
other than your unreleased podcast so far.
Yeah.
Been thinking about it. Biggest adjustment was probably for me putting in, trying to implement automation into what I do.
I didn't ask adjustment. That's biggest move.
That is kind of the biggest move for me.
That was your biggest move?
I mean, I now have a door on my
And the only door that
in my
locks.
office.
The only
Yeah.
office that locks.
Mine needs to lock. No, it's kind of nice being able to shut the door and actually focus on what you need to do, which I don't think anyone really had that at our old place. But the communication has been something I've been working on, whether it's emails internally or just phone calls, just trying to get stuff knocked out, because used to we just yell over to someone that's like 10 feet away.
Yell over the little half wall.
But it's that, and then also tracking the communication so stuff doesn't get missed.
And I
Has
think
been something I've been trying to focus on.
I think that really has been a big trust factor for me, at least, is like trusting the leadership team, managers, who they have, because I mean, realistically, the content team could come in all day. They could watch movies back there and I wouldn't know that what happened. that's where I have to rely on people managing that room to make sure output looks the way it's supposed to. And then also making sure we're optimizing on what that output really is. That we've had multiple times I've sat down with them and they're going to work on this X, Y, and Z. And it's when you start moving a lot of people, if you can save 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, you take 10 people, it's pretty quick that you just find one thing that's a little bit more effective, one thing that you can automate, one thing you can find a software to run, one thing that you can change. You could put another person in that room working without paying another person to go in that room and work. And so sometimes it's difficult when you look at that as, I think I see it all the time where business owners look at something and they're like, well, I'm not paying $200 for that a month. Like, well, how much more efficient does that make the people that you have working there? How much time do you win off of that when you start multiplying it over people? And it's like, most of the time I feel like people are jumping over dollars for pennies. And it's give people the resources to actually be efficient at what they do. And that's literally how MMG started in the beginning. How many subscriptions did I have, Ricky, when you started?
There was an unbelievable amount. I didn't know there were so many things you could subscribe to.
But every single time, I'm like, does that make me any faster? I'm like, yep, I'm paying for it. Like, I was scaling MMG in the beginning with subscriptions to all kinds of different things.
So I think the subscriptions are great if they're used. But then you have someone where it's like, man, I'm doing this one deal. Maybe I should get these three subscriptions will help me. It doesn't. No one knows about it. You pay for a subscription for 9 months. It's like, sick.
Are you targeting me right now?
I'm just saying.
Are you targeting me?
Some stuff like that, it's like, hey, if you're not going to use it, let the correct people know so that stuff. Because at that point, you're just wasting pennies.
Take the step to try the thing, but then if the thing doesn't work, cancel it. But yeah, don't just continue.
See, I'm not very good at canceling things.
You gotta, if you use it, awesome, keep using it. If not,
if it obviously
move on
didn't
to the
help,
next thing, stop the other one.
Dre did save a bunch of money at the end of the year when I finally put them on the credit cards. We had like $500, $600 a month on unused subscriptions.
Yeah, that's it.
He said more.
That's
I told the other ones we needed.
that seems low. That was the for sure get rid of pile, and then there was like I think somebody uses it.
There was like a whole group of things. I'm like, we should probably keep those. But it's crazy how fast things like add up now. Like,
well, especially there's a lot of stuff that's like per user too, and now it's like, well, when you have
that's how they get you.
Users, when you have 4 people, it's like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah, like Google emails. Every time somebody starts, $14.50 a month. Just another $14.50 a month. Then Ricky comes out today, sells me on Slack. He goes, "Hey, it's only $8.50 a person."
I thought we've had Slack.
No, we haven't. We've had Slack. We moved to a paid version so we can see chat history and all kinds of really cool stuff.
Yeah, I was like, what all do we get? He's like, you can now click on the tab on the side and everything. I'm like, dude, I'm not in Slack that much, so I don't really know what you're talking about. But if you think it helps.
I was like, we just moved like 40 other things in there. It's going to be a mess. This helps us organize it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of subscriptions though.
All of them.
But I do feel like that's a trust thing where it's like that you believe that's going to move the needle forward. So I think that is something that is needed.
Yes.
But I also feel like I've always been very open on listening to different things that we can implement to make things work and flow better.
You definitely have been. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I've had like a ton of great ideas on that forefront. I had Monday for a while and I hated it. And then I think we're on Notion now. I don't know whose idea that was.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
It was somebody's idea. But getting better at it and getting more active in using it, it's crazy when I'm like going back in content, I see them all like have Notion pulled up now, like logging stuff in there. I'm like,
seeing processes being used effectively.
It took quite a while took a lot of me being an asshole a lot of times to get them to start moving forward a little bit, but I think just trusting the process, keep pushing after it, and it's like it's starting to come around where like new people are starting out and they're like, oh, this is just what you do.
Yeah, they just have the processes.
Yeah. And I'm like, they come in, they're like, this is a pretty well-oiled machine. I'm like, just seen us a year ago.
We just put oil in it.
It's going down the road now for
18 months ago, we're rocking out in the basement. No, I think that there's been a crazy amount of movement this year. We're fully on track to do everything that I had my eye on that I wanted 2024 to look like. And I think every week I still get surprised at how things align and how it's just the right things keep happening. But it's like, I think that's very much all comes back to just good things happen to good people. Just keep doing the right thing day over day, no matter where we're at. And we just, like Trey says, I feel like a lot of times you think it's luck, but it's just consistently doing the small things over and over and over and over are going to end up paying off. I feel like we've done a lot of the small things really, really well. And Ricky and I were talking about the event that we're doing monthly for people who have been on the podcast.
What is that?
Yeah, that.
Bro.
Oh, dang.
Grab a whiskey, something. My
Been a
guy.
long day. I will say the event at the office was kind of a pretty monumental spot for me too. Like, I think putting something together like that, having 100 plus people at our office, just that there's the writing on the wall that no matter between all the failures we've had and everything else, like at the end of the day, we're doing something right.
What event?
We have a closed event for every member that's ever came on the M3 podcast. You were there.
If I was sitting there listening, I'd be like, Got to give the people what they want. Anyone listening, you're welcome.
There's one other thing I was going to touch on before we went. I yawned real big, and then I talked about the event.
We were talking about the event.
No, what were we? We were talking about we were talking about creating our own news station or something.
Oh yeah,
we're in Brookfield.
I don't know if that was related to the event.
No, it wasn't related to
at
the
all.
event.
Actually,
no. But
this has taken a turn.
Taking a hell of a turn. I got really tired really fast, and this could just go off the rails right now for all we know.
Tell me about your llamas.
Shout out Gentry.
If you could have one animal.
No, we were talking about doing the news thing, and then Ricky's like, well, if we start that, that's something we have to just do forever.
Yeah, it was like we need to really actually put some thought into it, because if we decide to do a news station, it has to happen.
Yeah.
And then that's a thing that we have to do.
Every day?
Yeah, that's why
we were thinking about just live feeding,
it's hot off the press. We got some deer. Maybe that's what they were shooting at.
Yeah.
Well, they obviously missed.
They didn't hit them.
There was a pack.
Yeah. No, I think we could compete with the news stations.
Well, I mean, that's not saying much.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really swinging for the fences by any means, but we were thinking we could just run our own news live every morning, social media live news.
Okay.
Just hitting on all the hot topics that have blown up on Twitter.
Yeah, pretty much overnight.
Fucking whatever, yeah.
I mean,
or X.
I feel like the news stations are normally 2-3 days behind anyways, so we could just bring it a little sooner.
I bet.
We could just go live. We just have an area set up that we record the whole thing. We're mic'd up. We show up. That's the first thing we do. The first 30 minutes we're in the office. Tell people the weather.
Tell people well, today we've
had outside. It's it's Missouri. It might change.
Hey, it's about
now. It's this.
It's 85 this morning, but I think we could have snow about 3:30. But we were talking about if we do that, we just got to be prepared to always do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything we've done, we've implemented.
So we're gonna have multiple anchors or what?
Yeah.
So you guys could do the news in Cancun in a couple months.
Yep.
I bet people
Live
here in
from
Kansas City are
Cancun.
gonna be great, dude.
Don't know what the weather's like down there or up there, but it's nice down
Day
there.
5 down here. It's still beautiful.
Still,
I don't know what you guys are dealing with in Missouri, but it is great down here. No, but we were talking about that. I think it's a great idea. I think it's something people would watch and listen and go to try to find something on.
Well, I can tell you right now, I do not watch the news in the morning.
It's because it sucks.
Yeah.
We got to make the news not
We
suck.
need to make the news funny, and like we could drink mimosas on it.
You guys be sold a mimosa.
Mimosas and Bloody Marys in the morning.
for the morning session.
Yeah.
Every day.
You can have the whiskey late night session.
No.
Yeah.
Sick. I want to give you the fun part.
You're into the 10 o'clock news.
Or Dalton's the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah,
10
just
o'clock
absolutely fucking hammered.
Yeah. We do late
Gonna
night
be a
with
rough one
Dalton's.
tonight, guys.
Guys, you know what? We got a lot to go over today. I'm gonna grab one more drink before we get started.
I know we're live, but give me a few minutes.
It'll be worth the wait, I promise.
3 minutes of him go.
Get it together, Dalton. You're better than this.
I would tune in to watch that.
No,
That's what we're saying.
Thanks, man.
yeah,
I'd have one viewer for sure.
I would watch it.
Appreciate that.
I mean,
There's two, man. It's from the same profile, so it
I would
might count
just-
as one.
yeah. No, I definitely think we've had a lot of evolution going on Moss Marketing Group wise. I think we have a lot of stuff in the works. I think that it's just going to continue to move faster and faster and faster. I was talking to Jaime today. I was like, yeah, I thought there was some point where it'd like slow down. I was like, all I think it does is just I keep getting busier. My schedule keeps getting more full. I don't think that's going to change.
It could slow down if you wanted it to and you wanted to stop growing. I think it would slow down if that was the end goal.
Yeah, that's not my goal at all. We ain't on jets yet.
Is that when it slows down?
You know, jets are plural. Plural.
So is that when it slows down, though?
No, because then we're gonna have an army, and we're gonna be able to move wherever we need to go as fast as we need to go.
What if somebody needs marketing on Mars, dude? I think you're thinking
Have to
too
hit up
small.
Elon.
Yeah.
Have to hit up Elon for that.
Elon wasn't thinking private jets.
What if we did a whole
Private
go,
rockets.
Private rockets.
What if we did a whole GoFundMe to get Dalton to Mars to go sell marketing?
Guys, there's no one fucking here.
Dalton, market share is free. You get all of it that you can.
Start selling ads on Mars.
Yeah, we're onto something.
It's like was it like early 2000s of Google AdWords, or was that late 90s?
I have no
Probably
idea.
late.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
We're all too young to know.
Great spot to hop in there.
I was 6 years old. Ads from Google.
I can't get them on a phone.
Wasn't Bing still a thing at that point?
Bing's still a thing,
Bing
right?
Bing is a thing still.
Bing's
Dalton sounds like he's a big Bing
Dude,
user.
it's somehow got to be my default browser.
Bing
It's fucking the most annoying thing.
Bing weasels its way into
Dude,
shit.
it sucks.
I have not seen Bing in probably 6 years.
It's the
How did
worst
it become
search
your
engine ever.
default?
Dalton, out of all the things that you can do in your office, you can't figure out how to change your default browser.
Dude, no. I swear to God, it does. I've taken it off and it comes back.
IT, you're gonna have to help
Yeah.
them out. You gotta open it, take it
Dalton
out
can
IT.
add backend code for like GA4, like
Dude,
Facebook, whatever it is on backend of websites. We can't figure out the default browser. That one's stumping.
I'll get you taken care of.
Dude, they're gonna cut a reel from this. Dalton like sitting there like this. It's gonna be like the hello darkness, my old friend.
you
I
gotta-
just can't
Bing-
get
It's
rid
just
of
gonna
it.
have Bing bouncing around
Bing
everywhere.
browser come up.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I haven't seen a Bing browser in, I don't know.
You don't want to see it, trust me.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say, "Hey, we should go Bing that." Like, we can Google that. We can't
Yeah.
Bing that. Nobody says
I think you just need a catchy word.
that. Google is catchy.
I want to say it's a
I'd
catchy
say
word.
Bing is catchier than Google, but
How did they come
it's
up
never
with
stuck.
Google?
It's a great question.
Another time.
Derailed.
Another
Derailed Dalton on Bing. But any final thoughts, questions, concerns, Dre?
No, excited for where MMG's going. Been a stressful journey to get here, and I think it's about to get a lot more stressful. So excited about it.
Dre, I'm glad you decided to give some input.
Same.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you did
It
good
only,
for
it
the
only
first.
lasted like 25 minutes, so
Yeah. I mean, that was long
enough,
enough.
man.
That was longer than I thought you were going to.
that was the hardest 25 minutes of your life. Huh?
Yeah.
No,
I apologize for
very good 25.
I apologize for being on the sleepy side. So
It's okay. Just don't let it happen again.
I won't.
Cool.
Anything else?
Ricky.
No.
Crickets. That's the M3 podcast. Thank you for joining. And we'll see you again next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.